Hey everybody, B-Rad here. Today I'm going to show you how I made this coin ring. Pretty simple. I'll show you what tools you need first. One, you're going to need some sort of coin. I'm using a 1900 barber quarter. You can use $50 if you want. Obviously use the older ones. It's going to be 90% silver. The main things you're going to need is some sort of hitting device to hit upon. So I'm using this little chunk of steel that I got at the metal yard a while back. Not even really sure what it is. You're gonna need something to hit with. I've got a 12-ounce hammer here, I think, and I've got this smaller one, so when we're done, the ring actually fits on this to polish it and sand it and all that. Got a ring sizer tool here and here, so you can stick these on your fingers. Make sure you're not making it too big or too small. I have a ring sizer here, a Dremel to polish with. You can also use it to kind of grind down the ring, but I didn't use that last time. Various wet dry sandpapers. Got 320, 400, 600, and 1500. We've got some silver polish. We've got a small jeweler's saw. I made this little cutting support, I guess you'd call it, out of some scrap wood to cut the center out of the ring. And then you just need a drill and a small drill bit big enough for the blade to fit through. So you're probably going to have most of these tools except a few of them. This little jeweler's saw, which is handy for other stuff besides this. It was like, I don't know, $14 on Amazon, I think. You know, you can get silver polish at the store for pretty cheap. A Dremel, most people probably have those if you're kind of crafty. This ring resizer, I had to get this because it was obviously too small for my finger. This was $10 on Amazon, very easy to use. This ring resizer kit, oh no, I think this was 10, I think this was 15. Either way, nothing's very expensive. The quarter, you might have one in a coin collection, just use a worn out one. Make sure it's not worth anything too much. And like I said, when you're done, you have something like this that I made. This was the first one that I made. I've had it for a few months now. I just repolished it, but shines up pretty good. Okay, so now we're set up over here on the anvil. That's how I made my first one. I'll start to show you how to make it on this piece of steel here, and I'll probably switch over to the anvil because it's more comfortable sitting down. But the main premise is take your coin, make sure you're holding it as straight as possible, and then just tap and turn. Now it is, like I said, 90% silver, so they're pretty soft. So I mean, you don't have to hit it super hard. But usually after I go around a rotation or so, I will flip it. That way, if you're not hitting it straight on, every rotation you can flip it and hopefully even it out. So I don't know if you can see yet, probably not in the light. You can see the edges are already smoothed up. So I mean, this is going to take you a while. My first one took me, I don't know, at least an hour or so to get it hammered out. At least, it's probably more than that. So I'll switch over to the anvil and keep at it, and when I make some progress I'll come back and show you. Okay, so it's been just about 15 minutes. And you can kind of start seeing how that lip is folding over. Here's a regular quarter. You can kind of compare the widths there. So you're pretty much just peening that edge over. This is my finished one, so it's still not quite as wide. I might try to go a little wider than this one. That way the date is still on the inside. This one, originally the date was worn out of it, so you couldn't see it. Oops. So I get that to focus. You can see the writing on the inside there, but I'm going to try to make this one a little wider. So just keep tapping away. Okay, so it's been another 15-20 minutes or so. You can see it's getting pretty close. It's almost the same width as my first one I made here. It's pretty close. Gonna go a little bit more because, like I said, I'm trying to get, hopefully this will focus. Hold on. Well, there we go. You can kind of see the date down there. It's still almost on the lip on the inside, so I'm gonna go just a little bit more. I'm probably gonna make this ring a little smaller, maybe to fit my pinky or something, because I want to really get that date in there. So let me keep tapping away. Okay, so it's probably been like 20 more minutes at least. So there's a regular quarter, here's the one that I'm working on, and the original one that I made. So you can see here kind of the size difference. This one almost fits inside of this one, and I made sure to get it enough so the date stayed in there, because like I said, I want to keep that date and as much of the writing on the inside as possible. So now I'm gonna take like an 1/8 inch drill bit, drill a hole close to the edge. You don't want to get real close, that way we can start cutting. So let me go drill the hole. Okay, so I got the hole drilled in the coin near the edge, not all the way up to it, and I fed it the saw blade through the coin, and then this is where I'm using my little homemade cutting stand or whatever you want to call it. And you're just gonna sit here and very carefully get it started, and you can turn pretty sharp with this thing, and you're just gonna sit here and cut around it, and you're gonna want to get as close to the edge as you want, but make sure you're not chewing up the edge with it, because we can clean that up with a file or the Dremel next. So give me a minute and I'll get this cut and show you. Okay, so as you can see, the inside is now cut out. There's the little leftover pieces, leftover piece there, you can see we chewed out. And I didn't get real close to the edge because you don't want to mess it up now. So now, I mean, you can use the Dremel with some little grinding attachments, but I just use this little half round file or this fully round file. It's kind of like a chainsaw file, and I usually just put it right in here where this hole is, so that I can just sit there and go around and around and around until I get it where I want it. So I'll start on that and show you from there. I'm just gonna start with this half round one, you can kind of see, and you're just gonna sit here and go like this pretty much. It's gonna take you a little bit of time, but like I said, if you want to use the Dremel you can. You just gotta be careful not to get too crazy with it. Okay, so I have it filed down to where I want. Try to zoom in here. You can see there that shinier portion on the inside. I got as close as I could to the lettering without chewing out the lettering. It'll focus. There you can see I got as close as I could without going too far, because you don't want to mess up now. There you can see the date is still on there. So now we're gonna start sanding it and polishing it. Okay, so I just cut a little like 1-inch strip off of the 320 wet dry paper. I got a little water here in this dish, and I'm just gonna put the paper in there a little bit, get it wet. And then first thing I'm gonna do is kind of clean up the outside edges. Just gonna go back and forth, kind of rotate as you go. And you might not be able to see on camera, but you can see it shining up. We're trying to get this outer edge here pretty even from hammering on it. So that's looking pretty good. We're just gonna go on this side and then flip, and I'll come back to you. Okay, so I got that cleaned up on the outside there, and now just gonna put it in the water again and put my finger in here, and then just start spinning it around until it looks pretty even on the outside. And then from here you can kind of get on the inside a little bit. I don't do a whole lot on the inside because that's where your lettering is, and you don't want to sand it right off, but you're really just trying to get the inner edge here on the inside so that it doesn't cut your finger. So I'm gonna start with the 320, and then I've got let's see what I say, 400, and then 600, and then 1500. And then once I get down to there, I'll come back and we'll try to size it up. Okay, so I made it all the way down to the 1500. I should have mentioned at the beginning, I actually found this hammer where the handle was kind of tapered funny on the end already, which actually makes for a pretty good ring holder. So you can put it on there and then put your sandpaper and just work it back and forth. It's a lot easier on your fingers. So I made it all the way to the 1500. Like I said, I want this to fit my pinky, and it's pretty close. So we're gonna have to use this ring resizer, which is super basic. Like I said, I got this on Amazon. It has this nylon base so you don't mess up your work surface. I'm going to be using the anvil over there. You can use your little chunk of steel. Pretty much you just stick this on here. Now this one's kind of small, but you want to get it on there nice and even, and then we'll go over to the anvil and just start tapping this, and it'll spread it out enough, and you just want to do it a little at a time until it fits your finger. So let me go back over there. Okay, so I have the resizer over here. The key to this is a little at a time. It's not going to take much. I sized my finger with the like example sizes for my pinky, and it's a 5.5, and you can check that on your mandrel here. Go down and it slides down to 5.5. So that's what we're aiming for. I'm just going to test it on my finger as I go. A little bit at a time is all you need, because it doesn't take much since they're soft. When I did this one, I did heat it up because I was going up a few sizes, so I'd heat it up to make it a little easier. This one already almost fits my hand, so we're just gonna do it cold. So do it, and then usually you have to tip it over, stick a punch in, give it a couple taps so that the punch part comes back out, and then you can take it off and try it. So still a little too small, so I'm just gonna keep going until we get it the right size. And it's always best to do a little at a time, because it's lot harder to make it smaller without some different dies. So just go a little at a time. Oop, see, like that there's getting pretty close. Do a couple more times here. This is almost as small as this resizer will do. So I'm going to do this a few more times and then I'll show you where I'm at. Okay, I'm going to stop there. It fits each of my pinkies, whichever one. It's a little tight, but I'm going to leave it at that for now because you can always make it bigger. And when you're close to where you're done, this is just kind of like a split cone. So when I have the ring on there and you're about done, to make sure it's still nice and round, I usually put it on there, tap it a few times, and then turn it and tap it, turn it and tap it. That way you get a nice round circle there. So now we're ready for polishing. Okay, so now I'm gonna polish it. I just have it jammed on the end of that hammer again like I had when we were sanding it. Just using a cordless sander with a buffing pad and the compound that actually came with it. Seems to work pretty good for this. So I'm going to turn it on. Maybe I should put a battery in it first. Okay, put a battery in it. Turn it up some. Just going to put this in the polish and get it filled up on there. Then you simply just work around here. Even just that small area, you can see it shinier than the rest. And we sanded this down to 1500 grit sandpaper, which makes it pretty smooth from the get-go, so it really polishes up nice. I'll try to get that outer edge there a little bit. Get a microfiber towel here. We'll go around a couple times on it and I'll take it off and flip it over. You can see there, pretty shiny. So let me go over it a few more times and then I'll show you the result. Okay, you can see there it's got a pretty good shine on it. Try to get the light a little better here. Yeah, it's pretty shiny. So let me just put a little bit of this silversmith polish on there, kind of finish it off, and I'll show you the result. Okay, there's the final result. You can see it right here. This is the one I made a few months ago. You can see how it's faring. I wear it all the time. I never take it off, so it takes a pretty good beating when you're working on other stuff. So if you have any questions, holler. They're pretty simple to make, a little hard on your fingers making them. Sitting there doing all the hammering and polishing and sanding and all that. But yeah, if you got any questions, holler. Thanks for watching.